Against this right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active when defenders have been given like. There's always just that active when defenders have been given like. There's always just that active when defenders have been given like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
And with an introduction like that, what more can be said other than people deluded? I'm back again. It's a new month. Hopefully November is great for you lot. Hopefully this last month of the year is even better in your personal and private lives. As usual, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube, please do me a favor. Make sure you're subscribing with Amazon Prime for my Twitchers. Make sure you're on YouTube, you're hitting the like button, and make sure you're commenting. And again, it's a pleasure to be here with you lot. I'm sure, big up all my supporters who don't support Arsenal, but Cloud9, I don't check the league tables for any competitions, but allegedly we're top of the table in the Premier League and the Champions League. I know a lot of people want to raid on our parade and dampen our campaign, but right now everything's lit. You know, tomorrow we have a difficult game against Wolves, regardless of our form, regardless of the feel-good factor, regardless of anything we've done in our fixtures to date, really and truly. They're a difficult team. They have a great manager, and we're going to need to earn the right to win, really and truly. We passed last week and we ended the month greatly. You know, we had 3 games, well, 2 games of recent. We did well. Let's make sure we start the month against Wolves perfectly, really and truly, which is the battle of the VARs, if I'm honest. They're probably the one team that could sit there to us Arsenal fans and say, what are you lot moaning about, really? So maybe the luck of the draw tomorrow, there's something to be said. Long time watching you. Appreciate you, Med, because you're always in the comment section, and big up myself for being in the comment section. So yeah, why waste any time? Let's get to what we're actually here for. First things first, I'm sure I did a video on this and it would have come out, but if you're not in the know and wherever you lot are in this world, allegedly courtesy of David Ornstein of The Athletic, a new Arsenal player is in talks to sign a new deal. Arsenal in talks with Takahiro Tomiyasu over a new contract. Once again, Arsenal in negotiations with Tomiyasu over a new contract. The Premier League club have made an offer to the Japan international, with the 2 parties expected to reach an agreement in due course. His current deal is set to expire in 2025, although the club do have the option to extend it by a further 12 months. To date, the 25-year-old who joined us in 2021 from Bologna, people, has made 71 appearances and he's made 18 so far in this campaign. And, you know, where November is concerned, undoubtedly Tomiyasu is one of the players of Arsenal of the month and has his name in the hat to win that, really and truly. Just when you browse that, I don't know how long Arsenal have been talking with Tomiyasu's people about a new deal. It doesn't actually say an offer has been made, so has that been accepted or rejected? Not to say he's going to leave, but typically in business, the first offer isn't accepted. Now, if you're Tomiyasu, you're not going to get Saka wages, Martinelli wages, Declan Rice wages and things like that. But whether he's been a first-team regular like when he signed for the club, or has been a reliable second option guy off the bench and of late getting regular football, he probably is one of the more underpaid players at Arsenal in relation to his stature in the squad. And in any other job, you don't really want that. So, yeah, it does. I don't know how long they've been talking. It doesn't say an offer's been placed to be accepted or rejected. Naturally, as a club, you're probably going to try and pay Tomiyasu or any player as less as possible. Obviously, as an agent, you're going to want your client to get a lot more than possible. We do have an option to extend his contract, so essentially he's contracted until 2026, so there is a bit of wiggle room. But I do like the proactive approaches to, you know, Tomiyasu. We're going to get onto it, but allegedly Benjamin White. We've all seen, you know, Bukayo Saka, Aaron Ramsdale, Gabriel, Saliba, Martinelli, and any other player, you know, Martin Odegaard, if I haven't said that, who have signed new deals. So yeah, it allows us to control things, really and truly, whether they want to leave or we have offers we can't resist. And just, you know, it further confirms that the players want to play for Arsenal. They believe in the project, and specifically under Mikel Arteta. You know, if it wasn't for injuries, he'd probably have 100 appearances or at least 80 to 90, really. So you just hope Tomiyasu can continue doing what he's doing, and long story short, stay fit, essentially. But if I'm him, 25 years of age, if I'm Arsenal, I want to really probably give you a 5-year deal, at least a 4-year deal with an option of a 5th. If I'm his advisors, probably, you know, again, if he's happy here and he wants to stay as long as possible, great. But, you know, if Tomiyasu keeps improving, as a footballer, you want to maximize as much money as you can from this thing before it's done. So if I was his agent, you're probably trying to get him to sign a 3-year deal, potentially with an option of a 4th. So maybe the common ground is a 4-year deal, but I think Tomiyasu deserves it. And big up everybody in the comments, as stated, people. And again, Benjamin White, from one Arsenal player to another, from one fullback to another. Arsenal are hoping to finalize a new long-term contract for Benjamin White. Now, this has been something that we've seen before. Talks have been ongoing for several months. See, specifically there, talks have been ongoing for several months, and they are now progressing to the finer details of an extended deal for the 26-year-old. As I've kind of said in relation to Tomiyasu, obviously Benjamin White, you wouldn't guess it, actually. He's a year older. You know, he has, we all know Southgate doesn't clearly fancy him for other reasons in relation to excluding football, in my opinion. But he's gone off with his country at tournament. He's been capped by the country. He was signed for 50 million. He is an England international, and he is part of the footprint. And at 26 years of age, again, you want an important deal. So it's nice to see talks have been ongoing, and it looks like there'll be a positive conclusion, but nothing is done yet. Not going to lie, people are over-hyping Tomiyasu's assist against Lens for the Lenny goal. By his body language, you can tell he just kicked it long, and by luck, it found Martinelli. I mean, sometimes you need luck, you know. I'm not going to lie, at the Emirates, I was thinking, boy, Kolasinac should be proud of that. But there was a couple of times being at the Emirates, that ball was on, and Tomiyasu didn't do it. But there was also a lot of times he did do it. So I did like that. And I like Tomiyasu. I like his versatility. I like his consistency. Yeah, he's one of those players. You know, when Tomiyasu has a bad game, in my opinion, he drops a stinker, but he's consistent. He's reliable. He's versatile. Looking at him, he looks way more older than 25 people, really, truly. Shout to me, Black don't crack. I'm 28, he's 25. You get the vibes. But I think he deserves his deal, man. And I think Tomiyasu is a vital player. Again, no disrespect to Benjamin White or Zinchenko or anyone, because everyone's got different qualities and it's a squad game, and I think we need all of them. But if someone had a gun to my head and we're playing a Mo Salah or any top right winger or actually left winger, just a winger in general, really and truly, and you know, your man has to keep him quiet or you're dead, Tomiyasu would be the guy, really and truly. Now, everybody's got different strengths. I don't think Tomiyasu, in the same way, I don't think Zinchenko is ever going to be a great defender beyond what he does in this inverted role. I don't think Tomiyasu is going to be, you know, like a Japanese Jordi Alba or Alves or something of that nature. But he does look a lot more confident in the final third as well, really. So long may it continue. We need different options. And it's sad, man, whenever I think about fullbacks, because Timber should be part of this, really and truly, man. And again, big up you, because Tomiyasu is a very good learner, really. And he obviously, we forget he can play centre half. Tomiyasu is clearly a quick learner and very professional, studies his craft well, so I expect improvements in the final third. Shout yourself, Riley. We will be playing Football Manager in a bit. Sometimes you just need a player who takes those chances. If everybody is playing safe, then the game is deadlocked. And you're right on occasion. And I wouldn't say we've become a direct team. I wouldn't quite say, you know, we've installed that consistently in us, but we do have that element. Being at the Emirates, Raya was doing it every day of the week. When was it now? Wednesday, so 48 hours ago. Obviously, you could say that Tomiyasu assist for Martinelli was forcing the issue and being direct. I'm sure against Chelsea, indirectly, it helped us. The same goes for Sevilla. I'm definitely missing out another game, people. Oh, technically Brentford, I'm missing out another game, but I do like how we've got elements of that. You know, and again, there's probably a bunch of reasons as to why we probably looked great in the final third in the Champions League, not quite in the Prem. But if we could just marry that, how clinical we are in Europe this season with how we've been defending so far in the season, so far in the Premier League, boy, we could go up the levels, man. But it's easier said than done. Tomiyasu is a good player. Not going to lie, we did well to get him. Remember when we were fighting Spurs fans over who's better between him and Emerson Royal? I don't know why any Arsenal fan, big up Stylish in the cut, I don't know why any Arsenal fan would fight them Spurs bunches, because I remember when they were trying to gas up Højbjerg under Partey, they will swear blind they didn't do it. It almost was crazy as certain fans gassing up newly departed Hudson-Odoi as opposed to Saka, really. In fact, Spurs fans, you were trying to say Kulusevski could talk to Saka, which is blasphemy, really and truly. Big up yourself, Fuad, and it's nice to have you back. Please, YouTube ones, make sure you're hitting the like button. So this is what you want to hear about Benjamin White. So yeah, talks have been ongoing for several months, and you know the finer details are being sorted out now at 26 years of age. You know, again from the points that you lot probably said, and I've said here, it makes sense. And I think, you know, one thing I like about Benjamin White, even when he gets criticized, nobody gives a flying monkeys about the price tag anymore. Nobody cares, really. Nobody cares about 50 million. Lord knows him. And actually, Ramsdale, who the price tag's not spoken about, Ramsdale's not really spoken about unless it's Raya, has been justified, essentially. Bit like Declan Rice, but that was an easy one. We knew that was going to work. And obviously, Mikel Arteta has made some signings that ain't work. Lokonga didn't work. Cedric didn't work, in my opinion, for whatever reason. Pablo Mari didn't work. Runnison definitely didn't work. I wouldn't quite say Matt Turner didn't work, but you could tell that was probably a stopgap kind of thing, but nonetheless did not convince. Tavares has not worked. You know, jury's still out on Kai Havertz and Fabio Vieira. I'm not putting them in that realm, but generally, I think Arteta, especially in the last 18 months, your talent ID or the success to failings ratio for signings we brought into the club have worked. For all his failings, Zinchenko's given us a new level. Jesus has given us a new level. Obviously, he signed Partey, and I wouldn't say anyone cannot see Thomas Partey's quality. Whether he's available to show us that is another thing. And there's plenty of other Declan Rice. I mean, I'm not going to praise Mikel Arteta for that necessarily because we know how great Declan Rice is. But nonetheless, if Declan Rice didn't work out, you know, they'd be the first to say we've wasted money. So, yeah, man, he's justified his manager's faith in him, deserves his new deal. He's got a deal until 2026. So, again, we're being quite proactive as a football club. Once again, talks are ongoing over Tomiyasu as well. And also in the last year, Ramsdale, Saliba, Big Gabriel, Martin Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli have all signed new deals as well. Now, again, Ramsdale, in hindsight, it looks like we were giving you a new deal to kind of protect your resale value. Odegaard, we had a bit of wiggle room, but based on your season, probably was going to get that, you know, and big up Big Gabriel as well, because I think he's one of our, I won't say underrated or underappreciated, because I think fans can see it now, but I think he is. I don't think he gets enough plaudits that he deserves, if I'm honest, you know, for all his faults. But if you look at that list, Saliba, Saka, Martinelli in particular. I know Martinelli isn't at his blistering best in the Premier League, but he's now getting in the Brazil squad. Saka is a star boy. Could you imagine him like in previous years supporting this football club where these guys enter the season? Because we've got to remember those three names I said early doors in August, they all committed their futures. And we all know with how Saliba's playing, apparently he ain't even been booked and he's doing amazing. Obviously, we've alluded to Saka and Martinelli. It's nice that there's no kind of contract saga in that regards. David, appreciate the super chat, my guy, and appreciate you for supporting the content. That's why the work rate's there, man. Your support's enough, but nonetheless, thank you for such, man. Talking to a Spurs fan is a waste of time. Now they're saying Ndogi is better than Zini. Spurs fans, stop comparing players to us. Let Ndogi develop first before hyping him. I'm not gonna lie, I did a video on Destiny Ndogi. I don't want to sing his praises because he's at Spurs, but I like him a lot, and I think that one isn't really crazy, really. I think in terms of a left back, I think what the strength Zinchenko has to his game, Ndogi can't talk to him, but Ndogi's better 1v1. He's probably more of an athlete. He's more of a traditional kind of fullback. Even saying that, I don't want to praise Spurs, but Postecoglou's doing the inverted stuff. And a couple of times when I've even watched Spurs, Ndogi's one of the furthest players forward, but I like him a lot. Jorginho's cameo was really nice the other day. Nice to see him score because the Italian fans have been giving him a lot of pelters because rightly so, really, because he's been missing penalties. Nice to see that we're giving out charity penalties, we're sharing the love and all of those things. I did like the confidence from Odegaard to grab that penalty initially. But yeah, man, it is what it is in that regard. So yeah, man, new deals are us, folks. New deals are us. Again, keeping up the theme with Jorginho and actually new deals. Allegedly, Arsenal expected to hand new longer-term deal to key midfielder. If we are going to do that for Jorginho, then I'm not really with it, really, unless Jorginho is going to kind of take over the El Nene role, be a voice in the dressing room, come in when we need him to come in. And it's nothing to do with Jorginho. I think he's a great player and he's a good signing for us and things like that. But we need to address midfield. And you know what? He's on the wrong side of 30. You know, him, El Nene and Partey, those futures are probably going to be subjected to a lot of speculation from now till next summer. I don't really think it makes sense. But what does longer term contract mean? Because he's got an option of a further year, if I'm honest with you. I wouldn't mind if we, you know, for example, if, you know, what I would actually like is we've got Declan Rice, Partey stays for another year. We get a next midfielder. So you've got what, basically 2 8s, Rice, Partey, and then maybe a next one, or Jorginho can hang about if that's the case, really. But I think it's, you know, we need to make those difficult decisions, really. if we want to get closer to City, if I'm honest with you. But for what it's worth, we're expected to give him a new longer-term deal with the midfielder's current contract set to expire at the end of the season. He joined last January for 12 million quid. He's 31, so how long is that longer-term deal? You activate his option on a deal is 32. Surely it makes sense, if anything, just that you activate that 1 year extension. It doesn't make sense to give him a new deal. I'm with Jorginho getting a new deal if we bring in a 6 and 8. See, I'm with that. Again, I like Jorginho. I think there's games you can help us. I don't want to see you necessarily start week in, week out because you've got obvious frailties, but I don't underestimate your experience for the squad and how you get on with it, really and truly. But surely if we're going to give him a new deal, you wait till next season or you wait to see how this season pans out. But is he one of them that Arteta sees as a coach and we're grooming him for such? I don't know. But, Mikel Arteta always sings his praises. And I do think Jorginho's definitely been one of the better players we've signed from Chelsea. Hopefully, Kai Havertz is continuing to take a step in the right direction. Keeping up the theme with the athletic people, Ornstein spoke about some Arsenal-related things, so we might as well go over it. He said, in relation to whoever Matt is, I've addressed this most weeks, so please forgive me if I offer a similar answer. I don't think firm plans are in place yet at Arsenal and most other Premier League clubs. There's still so much football to be played and so many unknown factors. We know from the David Raya loan that Arsenal are close to the line of FFP, and when they do have proper money to spend, it first needs to go on turning that move permanent. Beyond that, Arsenal will look to bring in a striker at some, but nothing seems to be advancing for January, so next summer will appear more likely. Much will depend on outgoings. What happens with Jorginho, Partey and Smith Rowe? I'm not aware of decisions being made on any of them. If someone departs in that midfield area, don't forget that Fabio Vieira is injured too. It wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal look to bring in a number 6 or 8. Perhaps that will depend on their preference of where Declan Rice should be deployed. Names such as Douglas Luiz, João Neves, Ruben, Sorry, people, I'm reading two things at once. Apologies. Eyes just went blank there. Douglas Luiz, João Neves, Martin Zubimendi, and Diogo Jota continue to be mentioned in the public domain. While there may be admiration for such players among some at Arsenal, I'm not sure those views are universal inside the club. That's before you even consider whether they are attainable. I don't know anything of a concrete plan, but that may well change. So there you have it. And then he spoke about VAR. I don't think anyone wants to hear anything about VAR from anyone, really and truly. He did speak on Jimenez, who's been one of the strikers potentially linked with Arsenal. Not the most aggressive one like Osimhen and Tony, but he's been linked with us in a few clubs. Jimenez feels like one we need to keep an eye on generally, but I've not heard if there's a serious candidate of English teams in January window. That is mainly due to Feyenoord having him under contract until 2027 and needing to keep him for now. He's 22, the club star forward, and not only are Feyenoord trying to defend the Dutch title they won last season, but Arne Slot's men will also be hoping to be competitive in the Europa League. So that's that. What is this, people? In relation to Arthur Vermeeren, who plays for Royal Antwerp and the centre mid has been linked with us on a couple of occasions. Arsenal is among several European clubs eyeing a potential move for Arthur Vermeeren following his impressive season with Royal Antwerp. The Belgian player, often compared to numerous great footballers, appears to have a promising future. Known for their interest in top young talents across Europe, Arsenal is keen on securing Vermeeren. However, they face competition from other clubs, and there's been reports of Napoli and Barcelona, which I'm sure are attractive as well. Apparently, Arsenal are eager to negotiate a deal for around 15 million euros in January. I mean, he is young, but he's played in the Champions League. He's been called up into the Belgium squad, and he wouldn't break the bank. And he does indirectly, in the short, medium, and long term, somewhat address in his own way that central midfield position. Big up yourself, Kamza. Salute yourself, Ambrose. Ornstein, distraction PR. Pretty sure Sesko's the striker we go for. I'm with that, man. DG, please give me hope. But apparently Arsenal want to re-sign Rob Holding. Is it, what would they call that in April? Is it April Fool's Days already? Or is that must be a fake account, however you want? I mean, there's got to be a reason you can't buy a game at Crystal Palace. I mean, I'm pretty sure we spoke about his departure and we said even it made sense to go to Crystal Palace. It's a good club. You're in Europe. You're more likely to play there. You're playing Premier League football, which some people probably don't even reckon Rob Holding can do in that regard. But yeah, you know, they have Mark Gurhey, who's being linked with bigger clubs respectfully to Crystal Palace. You've got Anderson, who joined from Lyon. Obviously, there's a lot of football to be played in a Premier League season and injuries and all that jazz. But you could see that you are going to just be a backup option if you're lucky, and you're going to really struggle to get significant minutes unless anything, God forbid, happens to any of those centre backs at Crystal Palace already, really and truly. So he probably knew that, man. So yeah, I don't know where you saw that, but please God no. DG, the lens game is the level needed for the Prem. Saw you moonlighting on AFTV. Big up as always. That's the only one of criticisms I have of Edu and Arteta is outgoings. Historically, we've been poor in this area anyways, but we must improve in getting good koala for our players. Big up yourself, Terry. You're right, man. You know, whoever we really showed of significance. I don't what them lot weren't here with it. Well, I'd say under Arteta, Joe Willett went for decent money. Balogun went for decent money. I guess you could force it and say Austin Trusty didn't kick a ball for the club, was already part of our club's kind of pyramid at Colorado Rapids, made quick money. But yeah, man. But when you deep it, obviously we need to get better at selling. There's no way around that, really, because you see worse players that are at our club go for less. But really and truly, apart from the players we obviously want to keep, who's really going to go for a decent fee? I'm on letting Ramsdale go, for example, but I'm not against him staying. You'd imagine you can get something decent there. If we have to move on Partey and we address that midfield area, I don't really care. But in an ideal world, I'd like to hold on to Thomas. But with his injury concerns, obviously his contract and probably his wages, who's really going to give us a decent fee for him? But that might be one if he goes Saudi or something. Obviously, Emil Smith-Rowe might be able to bring us something. But you go back a few years to when Smith-Rowe was obviously playing on the cusp of England and one of the first names on the team sheet. Even if we sell him, will it be anything close to what we could have got then? Past that, Tierney, I think he's a quality player, and I don't know why there wasn't permanent offers that are public knowledge. But are we going to make our money back on Celtic? I have to assume we was hardly flooded with offers for Kieran Tierney in the summer. Nuno Tavares, you just break even or make a little profit there. Lokonga, I don't know what's going on in that regards. Cedric, let's say the better, man. Even holding Chelsea probably get 10, 12 for him. And that's where it comes to us being better hustlers, because I think you struggle to get that from a Bowden, but you definitely get more than what we got. Need us to get a star player off a big team soon just because. Would love that. In terms of eights, I don't really have a preference, Jay, if I'm honest with you, man. I want an 8, but I more want, like in January, if you was to offer me an 8 or a 6, obviously if you get that Santi Cazorla regen or that Cesc Fabregas or whatever, them kind of midfielders, who doesn't want them, especially at our club? But I more want a 6 if I'm honest. Declan Rice is playing in the 6th role with Partey's absence. But when you deep it, Izzy, if he plays with Jorginho, he's the deepest man in midfield. Obviously, if he plays with Kai Havertz, that role is slightly tweaked. So I would like someone in that regards as well. Partey's gone. Jorginho took the El Nene old man role. I think there you have it. Martinez, but I feel we should have got more. Even Martinez, that was a good sell. But then, he's gone from strength to strength. He's increased his reputation since leaving Arsenal, and he's a World Cup winner. Smith-Rowe ain't injured. He's just waiting to finish his trim because the barber is buying juice and chilling in his row. Oh, come on, man. That made me laugh. But yeah, that's where he's concerned. In relation to Aaron Ramsdale, people, I was just reading this and I had no intention of speaking about this today. But it kind of paraphrased some good things with Ramsdale. Apparently, his previous deal was until 2025 with the option of another year. His new deal is essentially just a year extension with till 2026 with another year. So in theory, yeah, when all of these players sign new deals, Ramsdale including all the other ones, it was probably long-termism. But when you break it down, and it's just essentially for someone who's relatively a young player and a relative young keeper, it weren't that many years added to it. It's just another year. So was this, if we wasn't going to get David Raya this season, was we hoping that he would run down his deal and in the back burners we'd begin negotiations? I don't know, people. Apparently, people, yeah, he's obviously got a new salary. Sources told, as it says there, ESPN, that Ramsdale roughly doubled his money with the new deal. So you're laughing then. So he did take the cash, hoping it would offset his disappointment at knowing there would be fresh competition for his place. Or was he in the dark about Arsenal's plans? I mean, you must have known Matt Turner's cutting, so someone had to come in. I know his dad has said, quash that claim, but nonetheless, he said, we did not have a clue, said Nick Ramsdale. I did not have a clue. Our family did not have a clue. Aaron did not have a clue that he was not going to carry on playing. All of a sudden, he's not been playing. I slightly disagree. I don't think they were going to tell you Raya or they're going to tell you the plans, but you must have known something's happening. Apparently, one source contradicts his view, telling ESPN that the club had indicated to Ramsdale's camp that there was a possibility they would sign a new goalkeeper. Matt Turner and Ramsdale's understudy wanted to play regularly to retain his spot with the USMNT team, America, and Arsenal had never extinguished the flame they carried for Raya. It's unclear at this stage what the truth really is. Only Ramsdale himself can clear up these conflicting messages in a future interview, but for the time being, he has to focus on taking the few opportunity he gets, which he didn't against Brentford, people. So yeah, we're not going to read the rest of this because it doesn't really matter. But big up Aaron Ramsdale. Apparently, the Luton boss would love to sign Arsenal midfielder on a permanent basis. I think we would love for you to stay in the division on that, Rob Edwards, and also to sign Lokonga. Apparently, unfortunately, he's injured at the moment. He's admitted he would love to sign on loan Arsenal midfielder Lokonga on a permanent basis, but knows any possible deal to do so very much lies in the hand of the player and his parent club. Fair enough, people. In that regards, he said, I would love. Sorry, I'm reading ahead. He said, I really like him. He's a brilliant person, first and foremost. Always smiling, always really positive, great around the place. What was that for a sec? Great around the place, but he's a really good footballer as well. I'd love to work with him for a longer period of time, but I don't think that'll be down to me. He's our player, but he's obviously an Arsenal player as well. So I think a lot would have had to happen. But when we get him back, we get him back stronger and get him playing consistently, then hopefully everyone, all the Luton Town fans can see his real qualities, as no one's really seen it yet. We ain't seen it at Arsenal yet. I don't think Crystal Palace saw it last season. Allegedly, Chelsea forced to push through Osimhen deal as Arsenal, Real Madrid ready to pounce, people. Allegedly, people. Arsenal have eyes for the Nigerian, and Mikel Arteta as well as Edu are both keen to make an audacious attempt to bring it to the Emirates. Sources in Spain are also suggesting Real Madrid are monitoring the situation and could be tempted by a move. They've been linked with Tony. Obviously, they're linked with Haaland and Mbappe all the time. That probably just tells you Real Madrid, not necessarily in terms of names, maybe would like a striker, people. So yeah, allegedly Chelsea are going to have to pay a lot of money to get this over the line, people, because they're facing competition. A huge winter deal for around 120 million could happen if Chelsea feel the move is threatened. Furthermore, those close to the striker suggest he is interested in a move to the London side. He's currently contracted with Napoli until 2025 after joining them in 2020. And as you know, he's done well last term in 32 Serie A appearances. He got 26 goals. So far, he has 6 goals in 9 league appearances. He's missed the last 4 recent fixtures due to a hamstring knock, and I think he's actually had 14 injuries since joining Napoli. So that's the only thing you could say is a concern. Vlahovic allegedly has spoken, people. Let's see exactly what he has said. I didn't experience it as a different summer from the others. From my point of view, nothing happened. I've always been focused and calm, even during the tour in America when I missed the match against AC Milan due to a physical problem. I've always been calm. I was always sure I wanted to stay. The noise is always there. They are part of the game. If we started listening to everyone, we can go crazy. I isolated myself and only thought about the retreat. And in the end, I'm happy I stayed. It was where I wanted. So we have to see. He then went on to say, I play in one of the most important teams in the world. I am honored and proud for now I see myself here. I still have 2.5-year deals left on my deal, but we are in no hurry. And my agent and the sporting director already talking. I'm very happy to be here. So he's kept his cards close to his chest. He hasn't said I'm leaving. He hasn't crushed the door. And that's, you know, I always say I think we're only linked with Vlahovic because we want a striker, because we tried to get before, and because of this contract stuff. In theory, I wouldn't be against Vlahovic for what it is worth, people. Now, you all know we've got a very busy December. We kick off this month tomorrow on Saturday, which we will be doing a watch along for with Wolves at home. Then we travel to Luton Town on Tuesday, I believe, away from home. Then we go to Aston Villa next week, people, which is going to be a difficult game against an informed side. Then we go to Holland. Is it in Holland? Yeah, it is Holland. I don't know why I was thinking Amsterdam, but we go to Holland to play PSV. Then we've got Brighton. Then we've got Liverpool away. Then we've got West Ham at home. Then we've got Fulham away. So it is not an easy end until 2023, people. We can close that. Should we see what Mikel Arteta has said? Bit harsh on that, man. Bit harsh, social. I'm not sure about Garassi purple patch settings. I agree with it, man. It all depends on the level. To go back to Fuad's question, it all depends on the level of risk, really. If it doesn't cost that much money, he's not on the biggest of wages. If it doesn't go well, we have a decent squad player or we sell him, then yeah. But he seems like one that's a bit of a purple patch player. Aaron Ramsdale's dad killed me teeth in the teeth in the Christmas decorations. So classless, brother. I allow him, man. He's happy to be here. That's why he's vexed. Liverpool sniffing around Douglas Luiz now. They should really be looking at actual 6 instead. Not gonna lie, watching Raya makes me realize just how nervy and shaky Ramsdale always looks. I think it's the inability for Ramsdale to stick to the script. Like, you can see Raya, for all his faults, he sticks to what Arteta is telling him. And being at the Emirates, his starting position, like he's always offering an angle. I don't think Ramsdale's got that in his game. Like, I'm not getting on to Ramsdale and things. I like him a lot, but I just got to be honest with you lot. Should we see exactly what the gaffer has had to say, people? I think we should. Moving on, people. Arteta's press conference. He firstly was spoken about on whether we have the depth to compete in both Europe and the Prem. Time will tell. So no, we have another big one to play against Wolves, a very difficult team to play against. They have shown against the top teams what they are capable of. Our preparation has been focused on understanding what we have to do to win the game. He bigged up Havertz. First of all, support him like with any other player and to give him the tools and time to show his qualities. I think that's what he's doing. Everything is starting to come together. A lot of things he was doing right, he's continued to do. And now obviously in front of goal, he's been very efficient and he looks a lot more confident. On wanting to keep our key players at the club. Yes, that's what we've been doing in the past few years, apart from strengthening the squad as well, rewards and having stability in the squad. Those decisions are very important, obviously. On Gary O'Neill's opinions on VAR, people, Arteta said, I have sympathy with all my colleagues because I know how beautiful, but at the same time, how challenging our job is. The exposure that we have in those moments in front of those cameras are not easy ones. And when you see that in many, many situations this season and last season, we're here to make the game better and our club's better, but we all need to win to do that. On sin bins, I mean, I don't think Arteta wants that. Forget all of that. On fresh injury concerns, he said, no, I don't think we're going to get anyone back still. And we didn't have any incidences, so all good. And he then said, on our team, I think there's more levels to come. I hope so. We have to continue to do a lot of things we're doing well in games to earn the right to win. But I think we can still improve and be more consistent, which I don't think we can disagree with. On the chance to be 4 points clear on Saturday night, I don't know. I don't look at the league table. What I do know is Spurs were October champions and Manchester City have been dropping points this season and they play each other and we don't know what the other games in the Premier League are going to be saying, so let's just take advantage of what we can. You know, we're not going to win every game, but hopefully it doesn't stop anytime soon. We can control what we can do. I've learned that ifs in this league are not very positive things to have in mind. We are very hungry to play in front of our crowd tomorrow and win the game. That's what we are going to try to do. On what he expects from Wolves, which they're going to have injuries, not that that means anything. They have a lot of quality. It's not a coincidence what they're doing. They perform really well against the top sides. That speaks highly about the quality of the coaching staff, what Gary is doing, the way they prepare and control opponents, especially when they play at home. We're going to have to try to break them down tomorrow. He then spoke on setting us up defensively, giving players tools, ideas and understandings what we have to do with the game we have to play. As I mentioned before, it's about the efficiency in the last part of the part that dictates the outcome of the game. The other night, we were very efficient in that. Then on the challenge of 3 games in a week, that's the beauty of it. We wanted to be in this position. We are playing in big games every 3 days and the squad is ready. The players are hungry to play every single game. They're disappointed when we have to rest them to manage minutes. That's a really good sign. On VAR controversy, I have enough in my garden. Again, people, let's get away with this. On how organizations of contracts help us plan for performances on the pitch. Big up that, but I'm not going to waste your time with that. On how the infrastructure leads to fighting for trophies, I mean, it's pretty obvious how, but for sure, without top players, without a top quality squad in this league, and the demands that we have, it's impossible to do that. That's what we're trying to build and evolve and be better and more precise with what we need to make a big impact with those decisions. On if fans should hope for more similar fluidity and attack this weekend. It will be different. It won't be the same, and we cannot expect the same. This team is going to be different to last season and hopefully very different to the next season. And that's part of the evolution by leaving some things in the past to make a new way for the new things. It's a transition. We want to still be competitive and win matches. And I think the team is competing really well. On if there's been a difference in Kai's mood, not really. He's been very positive. He's been so influential in a good way to his teammates and the team. But obviously his confidence grows. He's really looking forward to something. When you feel loved, when you feel respected, and when you feel admired, there are things are much easier. Your energy is better. Your body language is better. And I think that's the way he's felt in the past few days. On his character, he's very respectful. You know, he's not someone that wants to be there in the front line, or at least he doesn't show it in that way. But then if you ask him to go to war, he'll be the first one down there, but he doesn't want to take that credit. And I think he deserved that credit on the day. On Tomiyasu, he said, I think so, but the priority for defenders is to defend and defend well, which when asked about Zinchenko, he said he didn't play there. So that tells you who he fancies defensively. Anything that they can add on top of that is excellent, and we're looking to develop. But especially in the defensive phase, the behavior and consistency we are showing is what we need to maintain, that's for sure. On the midfield trio of Havertz, Rice, and Odegaard. Now, hopefully Odegaard can find his form. Declan Rice, just keep doing what you're doing. And with Kai Havertz's confidence, maybe we'll get to see this new look midfield three, which in the summer we thought long-term, that's what Arteta would want to do. He said, well, I think time will help and more minutes that they play together. The chemistry will get better and better as well. But we have many options with different qualities. We played as well with 2 players, not as offensive as the 3 that we are talking about right now. And it depends as well on the opponent game state. That's Arteta's new buzzword, isn't it? Game state. and what we are trying to do. Again, they won't leave Mikel Arteta alone without speaking about VAR. I'm purposely not trying to be involved in any of that, but that seems to be everything in that regards, people. What has Gary O'Neill said? On being underdogs at the Emirates, I always go into games confident. I go into games extremely confident, but also realistic in how we need to approach them. I know we have played Man City at home, which was difficult, and also Spurs. I'm not looking to go into Wolves away. We play, you know, I would have rather, with their injuries and our form and how we've been at the moment, I would have rather been traveling to their place on Saturday, but that's not the way it's going to pan out. You know, we've got difficult tests to White Hart Lane, to Manchester City's Etihad. We still got to go to Anfield, still got to go to Old Trafford, historically iffy places for us. But yeah, he said who had a few players missing on the day. Man City had a couple missing, and we were pretty much at full strength in them. So it's a slight shift in that, because we're the ones who have suffered a few suspensions and injuries. I think they're without Pedro Neto, João Gomez, maybe Lamena, but either way, any key player that isn't there could give us an advantage. But that is not to be underestimated. You got to remember, we didn't necessarily have our, you know, the last 2 years, some of our best performances, or so even the last 3 years, when we beat Chelsea at their place, when Tavares scored against United at the Emirates a couple of years ago, when we beat City, we didn't necessarily, even when we beat City this year, we didn't necessarily have our strongest team. So we can't underestimate anyone. We go there with slightly less numbers than we usually have, but what an incredible opportunity for us to go to a tough place. And I'm really looking forward to taking the lads to a real tough place and see where he can go. I think Gary O'Neill, you earned my respect, you know, didn't really take you in as a manager, but I think you're very innovative. I think listening to how you talk about football, how you want your teams to set up, I think, you know, he's a very intelligent man. And I think he's got a lot of bows in his arrow that could obviously harm Arsenal, if I'm honest with you, if we do not take heed of the warnings that I'm sure Mikel Arteta has told his players already, folks. Garcia has 16 goals and 2 assists in 11 matches. That's one hell of a purple patch. Cheap release clause, definitely worth the risk given our situation in the striker market. I mean, it's one to assess, if I'm honest. I wouldn't say I'd be moving imminently, man. But it could be worth it. It all depends. The Congo should have gone to Monaco. We dropped the ball there. I don't think any of the transfers we revealed until it's too late because of the Chelsea hijack moves. But that's true. But then again, that's to us in the media, really and truly. You know, if Chelsea are hijacking stuff, that means, you know, for them to hijack Mudryk, they must also be talking to Shakhtar Donetsk like us, really and truly. So maybe, you never know, the media does play a part in it. But you'd imagine, you know, even as we speak, a lot of some summer signings at any club, you know, you can imagine they're probably having dinner right now with advisors, dotting I's and crossing T's. I would love for Mikel Arteta to take your any team, you know, for any signing, because some signings, you know, probably doesn't have that. But, you know, how long have we been actually establishing contact with Declan Rice, with Gabriel Jesus, with Zinchenko, obviously Raya? You know, did we maintain contact? Because we tried to buy when we got Ramsdale, did it fall flat? We maintained good relations, and then we got wind that it'd be available now. When did it become available? So I guess we'll never know, if I'm honest. I like Openda. I liked him at Lens, really, and he's going from strength to strength at Leipzig. And the more he keeps performing, the better he's going to get. And I'm sure, you know, at some point they're going to sell him for a decent profit, if I'm completely honest with you. So yeah, man, big up Terry for reaching a free stream streak. I think that says big up you. Never even heard that was done, man. So shout out to you lot. So yeah. On that note, though, people, just because I'm aware I need to be live at 5 p.m. on Twitch, Football Manager, we go again. I'm going to love and leave you lot. But again, folks, man, I'm sure you have your notification bells and you're subscribed already. But if you're not, I kind of went over the Lens game already, so you can get your DG fixed that way. What we got here? I did a match day vlog. That should come out at 6 p.m. So that'll be out. So yeah, have a butchers of that. And on Saturday, we go again, people, for a watch along for Arsenal versus Wolves, man. Last one before we get out of it. One day my dream will come true and we get Frankie de Jong. Would love it, but the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. So with that being said, appreciate you lot for tuning in. Your talking points, the silent listeners. If you've hit the like button, if you followed on the platforms and all that good stuff, stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll link up again soon, man.
There's always that active red light. Defenders, I think, it's like.
Easy, 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 easy.